Hi, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I have a new illustration speed painting to show you, and I am very excited for this one. This is one of my favorite illustrations that I've drawn in recent time, and I just wanted to talk to you through it. This is an unfiltered talk, so I might say a lot of things that make no sense. I'm just kind of like, um, throwing in there all of my thoughts through this process. And I would like to start by saying that this illustration is part of a series that, as I mentioned on my newest newsletter, I'm working on this project that is a series of illustrations that talk about nature and our relationship to her and how we live alongside other creatures that we could also consider friends and that we should learn to see as, living beings that have the same kind of right to be here, and how we can become protectors of all of these other living beings and friends and neighbors, right? And so that's what this whole series talks about. And I wanted to add a lot or a bit of magic and fantasy to it as well. It originally started with a warrior character surrounded by this arc of smaller, cute characters around her. And I really like that concept, and I wanted to make it into a full illustration. Obviously, it changed so much from the original sketch to this final version. So I did a lot of very different variations of the character posing, and I think that the one element that I was sure I wanted was the frame with all of the small characters surrounding the main character. Um, and so that didn't change. But the pose of the character did change a lot because I wasn't sure how I wanted to pose her. In the end, this is the one that I decided to go for. And I'm really happy with the general feel of it. I don't even remember how many passes I made on this illustration because I did several sketches and then I did sketches of the sketches just to make sure that the composition was working, that the lines were correct. And then on top of the what I would consider the almost final sketch, I started drawing more plants because I felt like I had just done a really quick rough sketch of what I wanted the plants surrounding her to look like. So I went ahead and started adding more details to it, as you can see here on the video. I'm not great at posing my character, so oftentimes when I need reference and I can't find it on the internet because it's a very specific pose or whatever, I do tend to take pictures of myself on the mirror with the pose that I want, and that's what I use as a reference, mainly to understand how the parts of the body work, because sometimes I'm not quite sure. And I think the trickiest part was figuring out how the shoulder pad, I don't know how that's called on the armor. I mean, I know, I just forgot. But I think, well, let's call them shoulder pads right now. But that section, the one that is on top of the leg, that one was a tricky one because, it's like looking forward. So I kind of needed to understand how the shoulder pad would look like. And I think that I solved it right. Um, Especially when we're talking about something that doesn't really exist and that I wouldn't be able to find a reference for because it's a very specific shoulder pad that I did. And so that's the tricky part of working with fantasy elements because you need to find things that are the closest to the thing that you're drawing and then just use your imagination. But yeah, I just try to literally imagine either a bowl or the shell of a turtle. And that kind of helped me a little bit. So yeah. And like I said, the process of doing the line art for this illustration and the color was so long because I was doing sketch after sketch and then on top of the sketch. And then the color section, you'll see how many changes I go through. But I think that this is a very interesting illustration to share with you, the speed process of you guys, because you can see me struggle and you can see me changing things and trying things and figuring this out. And oftentimes this is how that process looks like. I don't really have, I mean, it depends on the illustration, but I don't always have an idea of how I want the final illustration to look like. And I think that sometimes that is a blessing in disguise because you kind of surprise yourself at the end of the process. But through the process of it, it can be frustrating because you are kind of just like blindly walking through it and pushing through. And this is where we start the coloring section. You guys, I suffered through it because like I said, I didn't have a full idea of how I wanted for this to look. But I was just sort of like diving into it and trying to kind of like keep true to the original idea of like, I want a lot of greens and a lot of cold colors for this. I know that I didn't start it with the coldest of the colors because I did start it with like a reddish and a brownish, but you'll see how I changed through it. And the skin color of this character was particularly tricky because I wasn't sure if I wanted her to have like this reddish orangey skin tone or if I wanted to go full on fantasy with her and have her have this purple pinkish skin tone. And I really love the purple skin tone or pink. I don't know how you see it. It was a combination somewhere in between those two. And I really love the way that she looks like this. But the problem was that I wasn't convinced at the time. I had been working on this illustration nonstop for several days. And I feel like I had this tunnel vision already that I wasn't, because I wasn't taking any breaks. I mean, what I'm saying is obviously I was taking breaks, but what I'm talking about is like I wasn't working on anything else but this illustration. So I remember closing my eyes at night and all I could see was this illustration. Anyway, so I was doing that and I just got tunnel vision and I couldn't anymore take any choices for it that felt like the right choices. So I was just like, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. I like this, but it doesn't work with this. And so it was like I liked everything separately in color terms, but together I didn't know what I wanted. And so I started trying so many things. And I think that now that I'm looking at it, I feel like all of the versions work so well. I want an illustration, like a finished illustration of all of the versions that I'm seeing right now, because they all look great. And I remember that at the time, for example, now that I'm painting the characters again, at that time I was like, this looks horrible. I don't like it. But now that I'm looking at it, it's like, that looks great. You could have just finished it that way. You could have not put any color on those characters and it would have looked great. I don't know what happened to me, guys. Like I said, I had tunnel vision. Anyway, so in the end, I compromised and I ended up finding like a middle ground. And what I really love is that I was able to leave some of that purple pinkish color on her skin show through while also keeping the reddish color for her. I love that look. And then I ended up doing two versions, one that has the back wall and another one that has the blue wall. No, that's not a blue wall. So sorry, the blue sky. And I love both. And I think I forgot to mention this. I don't know anymore because I've been talking without thinking too much, just kind of like vomiting here all of my thoughts. But this is an illustration that looks a lot like another illustration I did like 5 or 4 years ago. It's basically a warrior girl standing on a field of flowers and next to a kind of like rock wall as well. And it was one of the very first illustrations that I sold, that I was selling on my shop. And I didn't do it intentionally, but it's kind of an echo of that. And I love it because you can see the progress that I've made because the style was different, the colors were different, and I love that. And so this is how the illustration ended up being, and I love it. And I hope that you do too. See you soon, guys.